Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock podcast featuring Dr. London Smith. He's the type of guy to walk into a Target, buy a 24-pack of Bud Light just to pour it straight down the toilet. Introducing your host, Dr. London Smith.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock podcast, where we discuss fitness and health, and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as selective renal venography and took her to court sized bags. So I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Dr. London, I'm very, very excited to talk about a brand new opportunity for our listeners.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a do-it-yourself kit for apple bobbing. Fall is upon us, Dr. London. It's already here.
And I'm excited, by the way.
Have you seen those TV shows and those movies where people are bobbing for apples? And you're like, how do I even get started to do that?
Yeah, like all I have are casks, no barrels in sight. So they're like smaller and like everyone, so we all try to shove our heads in. Yeah, I never know what to do.
With my special DIY kit, you get a bucket that sort of looks like a barrel. It's not a barrel, but it is a bucket that looks like a barrel.
So the barrels are in short supply regardless.
Where am I going to find all these barrels, okay? But I've got lots of buckets.
Okay.
But I've painted them and they look exactly like barrels. Here's where things get interesting, Dr. London. For a mere $50 extra, this costs $7,000, but for a mere $50 extra a month, you can get a monthly subscription of the fruit of your choice, as long as it's an either apple or it's grapes or it's strawberries. I have some access to some peaches but I don't know how long they're going to last. And then if you get some other people to buy the bucket and they get some people to buy the bucket, we're all getting like a percentage of this.
Okay. So the $50 will be split between all of us.
No, and the $50 goes to me.
And the $7,000?
But then you have a bucket now that you can sell to someone else for however much you want. Now, of course, I expect a percentage off of that.
Okay, so I get the bucket.
Uh-huh.
It's not really mine because you get a percent. You're expecting me to resell this product.
If you want, you can keep it. Hey, you already gave me the $50, but let's say you get the cheaper tier. You paint it really cool. You paint it to look exactly like the Hamburglar, which is as an example, right? Just a classic. That's what you would paint.
My childhood hero, yeah.
Yeah. Then you can charge out the wazoo for that amongst, McDonald's aficionados.
One of them, yeah.
You find a McDonald's fanboy and you say, hey, give me $500 and I'll give you this bucket that looks exactly like the Hamburglar.
That I paid $7,000 for, yeah.
Yeah, and the various fruit that I have.
Hopefully haven't eaten because I'm supposed to have been bobbing for them.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, that's really cool. He gives you $500. You give me 10% of that.
So
it's done.
Okay, and
besides the $7,000, you're essentially making a profit.
Okay, well, I think that clarifies my question. So, okay, well, I'm excited for this. And they can order it now?
Just go to Bobbin for bonus. Bobbin for bonus.
You're hearing all those stutters are part of the URL. So, and there's no .com on it.
Would you like to spell that out?
Yeah, it's Bobbin for BOBBINFOR ... UH ... You'll just type that into your search bar, and that should get you to it. Cameron, we have an ad today. A sponsor.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
No,
You for real?
It's for real. So this is Caldera Lab. They're sponsoring our podcast today. And, they're all about making your first impression matter. Because they do matter inherently, your first impressions with people. But some people don't give a good first impression. And
right. And first impressions, it's like, oh, I've got to, when I show up to my job, I want to look good. Sure. But it's not just that. If you're not able to make good first impressions, you are going to die alone. You are never going to find a romantic partner. Because if every one of your first impressions, people walk away and say, that was a miserable experience looking at that person's skin, then it's not going to happen for you.
Yeah, it's awful. And it's not a thing where we want to criticize people for this. We want to help you find your way to improving that first impression. So Caldera,
if that's the vibe you want to get off, is like, oh, I give off a terrible first impression, then you do you, but that's not for us or our listeners.
Yeah, that's right. Our listeners are super into not looking just awful. Okay, it's a change that they've made, but it's there. So Caldera Lab helps you to make a great first impression. Let's say, as Cameron said, you don't want to die alone necessarily. You're prepping for your date. What are you gonna do? You're gonna brush your teeth. That's part of it. But then you are gonna incorporate skincare before that date. You're going to use Caldera Lab's high performance men's skincare products and use the regimen to help with your date. And that's a twice-a-day routine to help transform your skin. They know it's a heavily female-driven world, but if the guys get in on this skincare, then we can have a chance, and it doesn't have to be women winning all the dates, which also an issue.
Dating is a competition. Love is a competition. The more dates you get, the more points you attain.
Yes, that's right. So our first impressions, the regimen includes 3 products, the clean slate, the base layer, and the good. The clean slate starts and ends your day. This face wash will leave your skin refreshed. The base layer is your daily moisturizer to hydrate your skin and jumpstart your day full of confidence. Or jumpstart your date full of confidence.
That's right.
Yeah, you go in there, they're like, wow, that's an incredibly smooth look you got on your face. And you can know that it's the skincare that did that. You finish the date, and the way you do all dates is like, they say, oh, you want to go back to your place? And then, of course, you say, no, I have to do the rest of my skincare routine. So you decline. You're going to decline because that's what you do on a first date. You say, I'm done. And then you go back to your place and you put on the good. That's your go-to multifunctional serum at night that helps your skin to look tighter and smoother and helps reduce the visibility of wrinkles and fine lines. So I guess this is a personal preference. I like to do this part alone. So you don't want the date anywhere near you. You put on the good and then you're done with date night.
And then you feel good.
Yeah. And the Caldera Lab Icon Eye Serum is another thing you can use. Once again, you may have droopy eyes from how sad you are from the lack of good first impressions in the past. And this Icon Eye Serum addresses the 3 most common skin concerns around the eye, which are fine lines, dark circles, and puffiness. Caldera Lab is the leader in men's skincare, made with only top-tier ingredients, and clinical trials have found that 94% of men's skin showed overall younger-looking appearance after using Caldera Lab for a few weeks. And just for our audience, we actually have an exclusive offer.
No way.
And yes, and this is their best offer available anywhere. Use code JOCKDOC at calderalab.com and get 20% off right now. Get 20% off with code JOCKDOC at calderalab.com and make unforgettable first impressions that lead to the charming words, "You look younger." Anyway, so that was our producer, Cameron. Also with us is Digital in the house. And later, Cameron and I will be explaining to you some of the things that you're going to need to know when you're preparing for a move into the future, basically.
Yes.
I don't want to spoil it. It's going to be important. But before we move on to that, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. So for a long time, our listener demographic was primarily composed of incredibly elderly people who are sick and tired of the portion sizes in Lunchables. In our efforts to cater to them, we found that we were neglecting the many bot accounts that download our podcast. So this week's listener feedback comes from a bot on YouTube by the name of Connectar on our video entitled Labor Day Employee Appreciation. They said, "Boo!" with 10 O's. First off, thank you for your feedback. It's this constructive feedback that really helps us to step back, say, okay, maybe we change the format a little bit.
So it sounds like this person is wanting us to pivot towards more of a ghost-themed show. Boo! Guys, Halloween is coming up, but Labor Day is not Halloween. I know that's confusing because you're like, I know it's a holiday that's at the end of one month or the beginning of another month or something like that, and you get them mixed up.
No, it's confusing. And the calendar people, it's a separate sort of tirade that, and we've already addressed sort of trying to make our own calendars because it's such an issue, but the calendars are so confusing with all these special days.
Well, they're different every year. They're different. Every single year they change.
Yes! And you might say, well, no, the numbers are the same. Yeah, but try putting the letters on the numbers. Those actually change every time.
Well, and sometimes even sometimes on a calendar you see a couple of the days of the next month or the previous month, and then on the next year, it'll be different days or maybe no days at all.
Yeah, and sometimes you're starting you're about to start your week, but it's the end of a month.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty frustrating. But yes, the ghost thing.
All that to say, we are hearing you. We're hearing the boos. We are going to pivot, like Dr. London was saying. And so maybe this listener is saying, hey guys, why are we keeping ghosts just for Halloween time? Why can't it be a year-round thing? And so Dr. London and I are going to just real quick describe the most recent ghost that has been haunting us. Dr. London, do you want to start?
Yeah, let me think of the most recent one because, let me check my calendar. Okay, that would have been 20 minutes ago. Yeah. So, as you know, I'm a trophy hunter. I hunt primarily trophy elephants because they make the biggest stompy sounds. So, today I was trophy hunting in my backyard where I keep my herd, and the ghost of honestly, it might have even not been from this herd, but the ghost of an elephant came and try to do a boo to me, like this listener suggests, but it was actually more of a, thing. So
sort of an elephant ghost noise.
Yeah, it was that, or possibly the other elephant that was behind the one I was talking to with my gun. So that was my most recent ghost encounter.
That's pretty spooky haunting, Dr.
Thank you.
London. My most recent ghost encounter was last night. It was President Jimmy Carter, who is not dead yet, but I think he's so old that he's in an in-between place. Because that's the thing is he wasn't a full-on ghost. He was too transparent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was I was only getting a 10% a haze, and he just kept being peanuts, peanuts. And of course, if he is dead by the time this episode comes out, this was all planned. I killed him.
Yeah. And just to cover our bases here. So if listener, if you are Secret Service, that was a joke.
Thank you for listening to the show.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to the show.
Honestly, if you're part of the Secret Service, please contact us just in any way. Be on the show. You can be on the show.
Even with an arrest. Yeah.
You can arrest me on the show.
Yeah. Anyway, to this listener who provided such helpful feedback, thank you for listening. Now for today's medical topic, lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh neuropathy. Lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh neuropathy, which is also known as neuralgia paresthetica, it's a peripheral neuropathy localized to the lateral cutaneous nerve of the thigh, which is why the name is so catchy and easy. It can be caused by sitting with crossed legs, by obesity, by pregnancy, and even by wearing skinny jeans because they compress the thighs so much that it causes damage to the nerve there. So clinically, patients will present with pain and numbness of the outer aspect of the thigh. And it could be just one side or both.
Well, and this is why, especially with your skinny jeans, especially if you're wearing skinny jeans as like a pregnant woman or, like a huge fatty, it's so important to cut the holes in your pants so your thighs have space. Your thighs and your crotch have space to breathe.
Yeah. So, and a lot of people will, for a long time, people were very critical of like, oh, you have holes in your jeans and you paid for that? It's a medical thing. Like, this is just to
These
save
are prescription
the thighs.
jeans, mister,
Yeah.
okay?
You go to the store, they've got all these holes, these cuts, these burns in the jeans. Like, yeah, that's prescription.
Yeah.
That's how I can survive in these.
And you just,
if we don't do that.
You rip them open a little more, give yourself a little
Yeah.
room. It's sort of like assless chaps, but from the front.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, please. If anyone does.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I've seen your wardrobe.
Yeah. So treatment for lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh neuropathy is with pregabalin or gabapentin, tricyclic antidepressants, and most seizure medications may also be effective. But also maybe consider wearing looser trousers. That'd be that's one methodology. Now I can't. Some of us are kind of addicted to fashion, so like I can't do that.
Right.
I've been to a few facilities because I'm just hooked on these skinny jeans, but like it's like to me it's not just like it's a lifestyle choice, and ultimately it is a choice.
I mean, that's the thing is like, skinny jeans are still around, but right now I feel like there's a lot of variety in jean sizes, right? Like baggier clothes are very popular, but you had committed so hard to the skinny jeans lifestyle that the idea of wearing slightly baggier jeans, I'm not.
No, I can't.
It's okay.
Even...
Hey, you okay? You okay? We good?
Not great.
No, it's okay. I won't talk about it again. I won't talk about slightly baggier jeans.
Okay. I just... Because it's not that it... Because it's personal to me. So like it's so personal. It's hugging me.
You said you came up with the idea. You were the first one to say jeans should be skinnier.
Yeah, and that's like in part because like I once owned like parachute pants and things. Like I tried the other kind. I tried clown pants. I tried them, and they don't like they just aren't for me. Like as a person, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I'm ruining the whole thing.
No, I get it. It just must be tough for you in this time, seeing Gen Z like walk around with their baggier clothing, with their hammer pants, with their clown pants.
Yeah, it's to see other people, especially to see other people accept other styles. It's frustrating because it used to be just me. But anyway, that's myalgia paresthetica or lateral cutaneous nerve of the thigh neuropathy. And like I guess if you're struggling with something like this, then do consider cutting some holes in your pants. All right, so as we teased earlier, we have sort of one of the more important topics for approaching one's formative years.
Basically, the other day, my sweet little niece and nephew came up to me. They were like, "Oh, Uncle Cam, you're so smart, you're so successful, you're such a genius, you have so many degrees. We're trying to apply for college and we don't know how." And I said, "Leave me alone." But it gave me a great idea for a podcast.
Yeah, and your nieces and nephews did come to me later, and I also swatted them away. I was busy.
Yeah. They can listen to the podcast if they want this information.
Like,
okay.
Because we are already doing this. We're providing a public education right now, and for you to like, you could say like, "But I'm your family, or I live with you, and I scheduled this appointment with you, and you said you would tell me at this time." No.
I keep reminding all of my family members, you are a download to me. You are a metric. You are a unique visitor.
Yeah.
That's it.
And even that, I know they won't listen like through the outro. of the episodes. So like
yeah.
I do not cut them slack on that. Like I'm like, no, there's music at the end. You listen to the end of the episode. There's music. Finish it to the last second and through the last second so the next episode can play, because we have so many episodes and we need to get more numbers done.
I wish our family would like listen to us. You know, maybe if they actually listened to us, we'd be invited back to, holiday meals and stuff.
I just all I think of at the holiday meals is the questions. And I'm sorry, we do seem to get away from the topic, but this is important. Yeah, we go to these meals and they do ask us this kind of question, like, hey, I'm looking to apply to schools. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking to eat this meal. That's what I'm looking to do.
Yeah.
Back off. So,
and you say we do that. We're not we haven't done that in many years because we haven't been allowed on these meals. But if they were more open-minded to what we're saying.
Yeah, I guess this is more, my dream state. Whenever I dream about seeing family again, that's... So,
but all that's to say, Dr. London and I are very, very experienced in this field. Obviously, Dr. London has a medical degree as well as a captain's license, or whatever you call that, janitorial license. I, of course, have snowboarding gear. I can get to my mom's house without any directions. Don't have to put the GPS on at all.
Yeah, which I tried to do that, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So I got my undergrad in bear studies and bear, how to destroy that species.
Well, I'm sorry, just to clarify, you were underneath the bear cave. That was your undergraduate, just to clarify the terminology here.
Oh yeah, I mean, sorry, I guess a lot of the people don't really understand how college works, but yes, yeah. But all that to say, we've got a lot of advice to give. We're going to teach you. It's coming up near the end of the year. This is around the time, if you're a high school senior, you might be applying for colleges, getting in there early. We're going to give you some tips and tricks and maybe bribes. We might help you bribe your, admissions person.
Yeah, might give you, and by bribe, usually just a discount on a bucket is kind of what a bribe looks like in the current age.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of the more important things you have to have is, just from the start, extracurriculars, okay?
Yes.
So
no one's looking at your grades. Just your grades for normal classes. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Oh, you made a C? I can see that, but I don't care about that, is what they say.
Oh, you got an A+ on your history exam? Let me think. Something that happened in the past. Yeah, that's cool that you know that.
Yeah. What about medicine being in the future, huh? What about
exactly.
Or law or the other subjects there are? Come on.
Just use your brain for a second.
Yeah. So, obviously,
extracurriculars are where it's at.
Yeah. We do need to mock a few more subjects here that people treasure. So let's the sciences in general. You might have usually not just a science class, you'd have biology. Not going to use it. You might say
no one cares. No one's looking at the
isn't the foundation of a lot of medicine and biology. On your transcript, it's not going to do much for you. Now, you could use it in your extracurriculars, okay? Bring that in. That might be helpful. But once again, grades don't matter.
That's a good answer. If someone came to me and said, isn't science a big part of medicine? I would say, I don't know. That's nerd shit. Why do you know that?
Yeah.
I'm going to let you into my school when you're talking about this nerd shit.
Yeah. And sort of the opposite end of that spectrum is, once again, extracurriculars. Are you a content creator? When we say extracurriculars, we don't mean you're or what do you do after class?
Yeah, nothing that is
organized,
accredited in any way.
No, it's not like intramural sports or anything. No, we do mean, have you been filming on TikTok?
Have you been filming on TikTok? I would, this is where Dr. London and I come from different schools of thoughts. How Dr. London got through medical school was being a content creator. That's sort of how we got into, you got your undergrad degree at the TikTok Hype House, where all the influencer guys live with the shaggy, the 19-year-olds with the shaggy hair.
It was the first 2 years. It was a graduated process. It wasn't all, you're kind of minimizing it. Because yes, I was at one house, and then once I graduated, I did get to move up to a ship.
Yes.
A lot of my schooling was done at sea, and that not only is that canon, but we had cannons mounted and had to learn to use them. Once again, for a really good video that almost went viral.
Yeah. And so that's where Dr. London comes from, is like,
views.
okay, my extracurriculars are all about like engagement and content creation and going viral. Whereas for me, my extracurriculars is mostly different kinds of soups. And I had created...
Not making them.
I guess theoretical soups is really what it comes down to. Like I had imagined sort of like a swirly purple soup. I had imagined, this is crazy. I had imagined a soup that looked like a honeycomb.
Okay, well, that's not possible. So that's...
Okay, well, it's theoretical soups, Dr. London.
Yeah. No, I saw Oppenheimer. I know about theoretical stuff and how you try to say it's going to make a nuke. I still don't believe it. So
I don't even know if I believe it, but if it's looking out there for those answers, Dr. London. This is what science is to me. This is not nerd shit.
You know what? I'm so critical of it, but it got you into the schools.
Exactly.
So like, I can try to be critical, but once again, we all have to form our different paths, and we each will have our own way in, because for what works for me, being an incredibly almost viral content creator, and for it might be different from Cameron's, which is
soup conjuring.
Thinking, and mostly thinking of it, right? Have you written it?
Yeah, I mean, just conjuring the idea of soups.
Yeah, and then you wrote down like that you did that.
Well, we can get into the next part of this. You say wrote down.
I am jumping the gun.
I think applying in the traditional paper, like pen and paper or online way, is not going to make you stand out. You got to think these colleges are getting like thousands and thousands of applications. And you're just going to send them, oh, here, I'm going to fax over these pieces of paper. Oh, I'm going to fill out this online form. No. You need to send a USB with a snuff film. It needs to be a film of you murdering someone that really gets their attention. And then there you can start listing, like, I know you don't care about this, but I got straight A's. Also, I've thought of so many different kinds of soups.
Yeah. And that's what you're talking about as you do it. So one thing you are going to have to worry about in your higher education submission, you are going to have to think of all the cinematography for your snuff films.
Yes.
Which,
that's the thing. You don't want a cheap looking snuff film. As we all know, snuff films typically have like really great lighting, good editing.
Famously
you need
yeah.
Like, you might just think, oh, I just need a director and a cinematographer. You need a director of photography. Like, you can't neglect these kind of positions,
Yeah. You need a director and like cinematography. Well, you need to have an AD, your assistant director. You need to have people. You have to definitely have a script supervisor. Continuity matters, okay? You don't want to screw this up because what? Oh, they were dead before, now they're alive. You'll look ridiculous to the board. So once again, you get this done. I'd say it depends on how, for your snuff film, on the length and plot and everything, but you want to, ideally, like if you're not experienced in it, you do want to hire a good screenwriter. And those can go for, I like it varies, but like, let's say you find a brilliant entry-level one that's going to cost you a few grand, 10 grand maybe. Yeah, like I'm not exactly sure the price. I made my own. I'm a content creator.
Sure. Whereas I paid out the wazoo to get Sorkin to write mine, and he did a fantastic job, which is why I got into the schools I got into.
Yeah. And then you have to find the victim, obviously, who's like gonna be a star. So
I wouldn't even say the word victim. It's your
co-star.
casting. Yeah, the star of your film.
Oh yeah. And also, so you have to do the casting director. Sorry, also very important.
Yes.
And one problem I want to point out, a hurdle right there.
And did I mention interns? You got to get some interns in the mix.
But I'm sorry, on the casting director, there's a good chance that you will be cut from your film. If it's a good casting director, you're not going to make the cut. So you are going to have to possibly most likely sleep with them. Like I don't want to.
You might have to bribe the casting director or use the casting director in sort of a follow-up sequel. It is okay to send like sequels to your college application. It's okay to leave your college application on sort of a cliffhanger and be like, wait for the next one.
And then you send in another USB with with your follow-up film. And then at that point you do have the question of like, well, is this a trilogy?
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, depending on the trilogy comes out, it's like, okay, are we going to have prequels? Is it going to be an extended universe? Are we going to have sort of spin-offs and, tie-ins?
At this point, you've got a full writing team. You're in the writer's room. You're bouncing around ideas.
Kevin Feige's in the mix. Like everyone is working together to make this. James Gunn is there. Like everyone's on board for wanting this to work. And this is all just grabbing attention. This is getting your foot in the door. I mean, think about it. So you've got their attention. They're paying attention to you. And so far, all I've told them is I can conjure soups and I've killed this person. Like, I've got to be able to offer something more, right?
Right. And so that's when we come to what... So if I can give a brief example. When I was in college, this is whenever I was on leave to go to clown college for a little bit and then return. We had a brief lecture about how to write a good personal essay, personal story, right?
You want to be able to look through your past and pull stories out of those. So, for example, Dr. London, what is something that happened when you were 12? Just something innocuous.
Yeah, let's see. I had a frisbee thrown at me and it hit me right in the head because it was blocking the sun for a second.
Okay, so you were held in captivity in complete darkness for years, so you didn't even see the sunlight. And then you ate out of a dog bowl. So that's kind of like a frisbee.
Yeah.
Boom.
See?
That's your story. That's your history. And you're not lying. You're not even lying.
You're practically not even lying.
You had a frisbee touching your face. It blocked out the sun. Ergo, you were eating out of a dog bowl, basically a frisbee. Yes. And also you were like held in a sort of a land without light. And
so because people like to look at stuff and say, like, oh, did you try to embellish this just to get in? Have you ever heard of lying on your resume? You're preparing for real life. Okay. And once again, it's not lying. It is just embellishing. But let's say, well, this is why we need to get into also the important hobbies. Okay.
Yes. Hobbies are throwing rocks at frogs. Oh, go ahead.
Yes. Painting those miniature models for board games like Warhammer. Mm-hmm. That's something you're going to want to go on and on about because, for one thing, your hobby, people think that if you get too personal, it won't be relatable. But if you overdo it,
yes,
then it becomes relatable again.
That's one of the things that people really get confused about because people have, quote unquote self-awareness and they're like, oh, I just rambled on and on about this thing I was interested in and that no one else was interested in. You gave up too soon. Keep going. Push further. Everyone's on their phone. Doesn't matter. Keep going. Just like push it forward.
Yeah. It's one of these things where like people want to pretend that it's useless and it's terrible conversation starter because once again, when we are getting to the portion where we're talking about cocktail parties, which is a very big part of the application process. You have to go through and you have to schmooze. So you want to bring these up in your personal statement as well, but definitely at the cocktail parties. What does everyone do at a party? You play those hand clapping games. Like, my mother said to pick the very best one, and you are not. All these clapping games that people love. Sorry, I should have done this as well. That would have translated it better. So, if you can get good at those games, then you can write about it in your college application essay, write about it in your medical school application essay, write about it, and then show people at the cocktail party.
This is where the hobbies really, really come into play. It's not just the application. It's like you said, schmoozing people afterwards because there is sort of a reception after your application. Yes. Yeah, you do have a sort of a formal reception. Definitely dress nice. Have your cutout jeans and whatnot.
Yeah, I was gonna catch you on the dress nice, but no, you got it.
Yeah, no, I do consider that dressing nice. Would I say that someone in a wheelchair is not dressed nice just because they have a wheelchair? No, that's a medical condition. That's a medical need. Yeah. I think we've got most of the main things you're gonna need. Let's go over the list real quick. Extracurriculars, aka either going viral or conjuring different soup ideas. Yeah. Snuff film that you then just to stand out, and then that gets your foot in the door.
and then you have to make more, and like,
Yeah.
but yeah,
It turns into a whole universe. You list your hobbies, you tell your personal story, and I guess you have to be related to someone who donated a lot of money to the school you're trying to go to. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, did we not say that? Okay.
I feel like it's implied, but maybe some of our listeners don't know that. No, you're not going to get in anywhere unless your very wealthy grandfather donated a ton of money to the clown college you're going to, or the boat school you're going to, or for me, I have a bunch of snowboarding equipment, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And also, they had to have died and left you the rest of their money as an inheritance to pay for the schooling.
Yes. Well, and just so you have enough money to pay someone else to do all your work for you. You're not going to school.
Yeah.
Like, I have a life.
Well, you'll go to parts that, but you'll have them wear the your face as a mask and everything.
I'll go to parts of it, such as parties and
sorry, when you said
casting
you don't
calls
have to
for
go
these
to school,
videos I'm making, but yeah.
Well, I mean, usually I'd still want to hire someone else for that too, because the hours.
Yeah.
Crafty's good, but it's sometimes they have the chocolate covered cherries instead of the strawberries, and I just.
Well, and with how meticulous our directors are too, like, that just 2 shots and 2 angles isn't gonna cut it,
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, well, let's hold on this. Let's spend a few hours on getting this one shot of him picking up a mug." And you're like, "Man, we're just trying to get into school, man."
Yeah.
So you know what? I feel like at this point we are pulling out a little too much of ourselves on this.
Yeah.
So that's how to do it. That's really how to make it through. I would say let us know any questions you may have to clarify, but we covered everything pretty thoroughly on how to apply for schools. So, anyway, thank you to our producer Cameron. Thank you to Digital in the House.